Alright, hey everybody, I'm Kid Disaster. This is my playthrough of Dark Souls. This is the first Let's Play I've ever done, and I'm mainly doing it for fun, so hopefully people will enjoy watching it as much as I think I'll enjoy making it. This isn't a blind Let's Play. I have beaten this game several times already, and I'd consider myself pretty knowledgeable about it, so I should be able to show you most, if not all, of what there is to do in this game. For this build, I'm going to be using a dexterity melee build mainly, with a bow as a secondary weapon. I may also put a few points in intelligence just so I can use greater magic weapon, because that will give me more melee damage basically for boss fights. I was considering putting a point in faith to use heal, but I don't think there's really much of a point to that. And other than that, I'll be putting a few points in strength to use the weapon and shield that I want to use, and obviously points in vitality and endurance so I can have a decent amount of health and quick roll with my full armor set and weapons. Pretty standard build, really, nothing too special here. I've mainly done magic builds in the past. This is probably going to be my first purely melee build, so we'll see how it goes. Looks good to me. I'm starting as the thief because you start with a decent set of armor. I'll probably use the black leather armor for the majority of the game. Once you upgrade it, it's fairly good, especially for the weight. And you start with the master key, so I can also take the old witch's ring, which allows you to talk to a character you couldn't normally speak to. And here we go. I will try to keep quiet during the cutscenes.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death. And of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. The first of the dead. The Witch of Asylum and her daughters of chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty gods peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. Seath, the scales, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. and amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign.
Well, that cutscene's a lot longer than I remember it being. I normally skip it, but I figured I would leave them in the Let's Play unless people tell me they don't want to see them.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world.
And there we are.
This is your fate.
Not anymore, it's not. Thanks, brah. Okay, so this is the start of the tutorial area. That guy up there who kindly dropped the corpse with the key through, we'll be seeing him later, lets us open our cell and move out into the game. They've got these little messages on the floor that'll teach you how to do the controls if you've never played it before. These guys here, you can kill them. They give you about 20 souls each, but for the amount of hits they take with this broken sword, it's really not worth it, so I usually just run right past them. This is something cool. I never actually noticed this until someone pointed it out the other day. You can look over here to the right and see the Stray Demon, who's a boss that you'll fight a bit later on in the game, just walking around. He can be kind of an asshole until you realize that he and the other two bosses like him have a pretty much universal strategy, which is get as close as possible and just circle strafe around them and they cannot hit you. So we'll continue on up here and head up this ladder, which will take us to the game's first bonfire. I'm not actually going to rest at this bonfire because you don't really need to. We'll be back here in a second. But bonfires are basically checkpoints. If you die, you'll start back at the last bonfire you rested at. You also use bonfires to level up. They refill your Estus flasks, which are your health potions essentially once you get them. Now, this guy, the Asylum demon, you're supposed to run through that gate on the right, and you come back and fight him after you get the rest of your starting gear. You can fight him now if you want to, but it would take so long to kill him with this broken sword that there's just no point. So I'm just going to keep on going. Another bonfire here, might as well heal up. And here we get our shield. This guy is going to shoot some arrows at us, but I'm not too concerned about him. We'll equip our starting knife and take care of him in short order. Now through the fog gate onto the next zone. Well, not next zone, next area of this zone. And now we're above the courtyard with the bonfire. Over to the left, there's an item you can't get yet. When we come back later on and fight that other demon we saw, we'll be able to get that item. It's a rusted iron ring, which lets you move through water without a movement penalty. Pretty useful for fighting the two Hydra bosses, well, one of the Hydra bosses, as well as moving through the swamp in Blighttown when we get there. And I'm not looking forward to that. No one likes Blighttown. one of the worst areas in the game. Not the worst, but it's up there. Now, there's a douchebag with a boulder at the top of these stairs. So run up a little bit until he pushes it, and then hug the left wall, and it will open up this wall for you. And here is the nice gentleman who gave us the key out of our cell. He has apparently fallen through the roof. Let's talk to him.
You're no hollow. Hmm? Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I are both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Sure.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. When thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords, when thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Right, so now we have our first 5 Estus flasks, and also the key to progress further in the tutorial. This guy does end up going hollow, and when you come back here, he will attack you. He can be a bit annoying, but he's usually not too hard to kill. When you kill him, you get that shield there, which is pretty nice. It's the Crest Shield, and it has pretty high magic resistance. It's one of the shields I'll probably be using later on in the game. You can actually just kill him now to save time, but I'm not sure if he drops the shield now, and I definitely want it, so I'll just wait until we come back. Up the stairs to the dick with the boulder, and we'll take him out. Get a backstab on him. Open the gate with the key. A few more enemies left to kill, and then we'll be taking the boss out, now that we have our weapon. Come on. Come on. I was hoping I could pull him away from the wall and backstab him, but he wasn't cooperating, so I'll do it to his friend instead. Now we have another archer who is an easy backstab. He's not too bright. And last but not least, this guy with the shield. Once again, easy backstabs all around. This door actually leads down to where that ring is. You have to get the key later on and come back here to get that. Now, go through this fog door to where the boss is. He's going to be standing down below you, and you'll enter on a platform above his head, so you get a free plunging attack. So two-hand your weapon, and drop down and take him out. Well, not take him out, but close enough. Now, to defeat these guys, like I said, you want to just stay as close to them as possible, and circle around behind them, and they will not be able to hit you. If they jump away like that, you want to close the gap as quickly as possible. Being far away from them is actually the most dangerous place you can be. And because I failed to stay behind him, I got hit. But he is not very difficult to kill, and he's now dead. Now he drops the key for this large door in the back. He also gives you 2,000 souls and the humanity. And we're done with the tutorial zone. There's a couple things to pick up here. Actually, one thing. And just one other thing I'll show you before we head off to the main area. There's a soul of a lost undead over here. You use that to gain, I believe it's 200 souls, which isn't very much, but early game it's nice. And over here we have Snuggly.
You, give me warm, give me soft.
Snuggly is an interesting feature. Basically, there are certain items where if you drop them in his nest and then quit the game and reload, the item will disappear and he'll have left a different one in its place. I can't remember all of the ones that he accepts off the top of my head, but I know he takes rubbish and gives you a Titanite chunk, which is pretty useful. And I think if you trade him a certain helmet, he'll give you a Ring of Favor and Protection, which is quite nice. One of 2 of those rings you can get.
In the ancient legends, it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Alright, here we are in Lordran. The Firelink Shrine is going to be kind of a home base for the rest of the game. This bonfire has been kindled, which means it will give you 10 Estus flasks instead of 5. You can kindle other bonfires as long as you have humanity. And we'll do a couple more things before I end this first part. Grab all the items that are around the shrine, and we'll grab a few other items that you can get with the Master Key. I believe there's some fire bombs back here. Yes, there are. Also go up here. And here is Petros. Petros is a guy who will teach you miracles if you join his covenant. He'll teach you heal and that sort of thing.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thoroland. Have you business with us? If not,
His mouth
I
doesn't
prefer
seem to
to
be
keep
moving.
a distance, if possible.